let's talk briefly about Keffer's arc in this episode. Basically, his existence in this series proves to be a good MacGuffin in having the recording of the Shadow Vessel that will become important at the beginning of season three. Let's go with you, Medusa, first. I mean, there's quite a few short scenes in him, so let's talk about all these scenes together. What are your thoughts on the noble ending of Warren Keffer?
I think he's the perfect example of character exposition. That's what his
Mm.
role was in this. It was
Yeah.
there's a signal in hyperspace. We meet Harvey, I think, who says, "I saw this shape, this spider, this darkness," and Kefir's like, "Oh, I saw that," and it's very clever. I think it was a distant star, possibly when
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
first saw
Yeah.
it. So it's really a brilliant callback, actually, because he is literally just this reminder throughout the entirety of season two that there is something out there in hyperspace.
Mm.
And I think even though he was basically forced upon Joe as like a character, he actually served some purpose, just probably not in the way that the studio wanted him to.
Mm.
He was very much the sacrificial lamb that sped along the story, which I actually don't mind. That's how he ended up turning out to be. I remember when I first watched this and he went off to follow the signal after they'd escorted the Nan cruiser through the jump gate. And I was like, oh, yeah, dead. You just automatically knew that this guy was not coming back. And that final scene where obviously you know he's dead, but we didn't see him die, and it's just his recording of the shadow vessel on
Mm.
ISN, I
Mm.
think was brilliantly done because once again, Kefir's become this invisible person that has then evolved and moved the story on. Very minor in the grand scheme of things, but served one hell of a purpose, especially leading into season three.
Mm.
I do like all of the talks about how Harvey says to him in the locker room, if you go looking for this, you're looking for death. And I'm done with this once I've handed this
Yeah.
information over to you. And it's like, Harvey, you ain't done with this, my love. There's like two more battles, at least seasons wise, coming up where you probably are about to die yourself because
Yeah.
of these shadows. So I actually don't mind seeing the pilot side of the story because it's kind of like I like seeing the people you wouldn't normally see, like the dock
Mm.
workers, and you
Yeah.
see their perspectives. So I like that element of it, and he did serve a purpose on that front, and the callbacks to them training in the Centauri battle maneuvers, which then obviously came in handy toward the end of the episode as well.
Mm.
I actually think he serves a decent purpose in this episode, but
Yeah.
it was nice to see the back of him at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he is a plot device rather than a character, essentially. Um,
Yeah. Um, it was interesting. I was watching it. My wife was sort of half watching it. She's watched Babylon 5 before. She's not a big fan of Babylon 5. She loves it. She recognized that London and Jakar are amazing, and she sees me watching it all the time. And she went, "Who is he?" I went, "That's Keffer. That's Keffer." It's like, what? We've watched it before. You watched the whole thing with me once. That's Keffer the pilot. She clearly had no idea who he was. Kind of says everything as well. But I do agree with Medusa. I like how he's used in this episode. I like how he ties into the Centauri training. I love the discussions. That discussion of a shadow ship being a cross between a spider and your worst nightmare is the perfect
yeah.
description of a shadow ship. And yeah, and it wasn't inevitable he was going to die, but I kind of feel like maybe Kevin. I might have mentioned in the previous episode. Kevin kind of maybe he's more of a hero than we realize because the shadows they move in secrecy and no one's supposed to know they're there. Because of Keffer, everyone finds out about the shadows. So
Mm.
Yeah.
maybe Keffer is one of the reasons the shadows don't win the war. So maybe kudos to Keffer. If he had got off and found a shadow ship
No,
and had his
no.
recording captured by ISN and no one knew about it, maybe the shadows may have won. I don't know, I'm joking for the most
Don't
part.
pin that
Maybe,
significance on Keffer.
but maybe he served a bit of a purpose. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. No, he did serve a purpose. He did serve a purpose, and I think JMS was very wise to do that because he obviously did not want to have this character.
No.
I think Keffer's in what, like five or maybe 6 episodes out of 22.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
not many.
Yeah, just about that. So, I just remember the first time seeing him having drinks with the senior staff. I'm like, who the hell's this guy? And why is he on the senior staff table in the bar?
Yeah, he just turns up at Earhart's, doesn't he?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why is he in the
Why-
title sequence?
Why are you mingling with the commander? You're a lowly pilot.
But at least he gets more screen time than the second rubbish and Toff, who's also in the title sequence this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think a science fiction series that dealt with like really, really shined a light on like pilots and deckhands was Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
They did like that so well.
Yeah.
Just like focusing on the pilots and the deckhands and not just the command staff.